they don't see us. Hopefully they heard us. I don't know where they're at, but they're somewhere around here. Hopefully they come on up. I have did somebody say anti-Semites? Because I have another Jewish speaker from New York. Our friend Richard Siegel. Come on up, Rich.
All right.
All right, Rich. Coming. All right.
It's in New York or New Jersey, by the way? Jersey.
Okay. Joyce.
Well, I'm from New York, but I live in New Jersey, so I'll claim both. So I have one sign for Bernie, and the other side is my self-hating Jew sign. But I thank Rabbi Weiss for saying that I'm not a self-hating Jew. I've actually become sort of accustomed to the title, and I kind of like it. But and I could very much relate to what Mr. Shoemaker said about having been lied to all his life. I was lied to all my life. I was raised in a very different kind of Jewish setting than our friends from Netzrai Karta. I was raised in a Reformed Jewish, very Zionist setting. I was the president of a Zionist youth group when I was a teenager, and presented with a whole litany of lies that we never really claimed that God gave us the land, but because we were raised atheist. We just basically worshiped the idols of the Jewish state and Jewish tribal identity. But I was told that we never did anything wrong to the Palestinians. We just went there wanting to be their neighbors, and they just hate us for no reason, just like everybody hates us for no reason. It's a cult. And I'm not saying that all Judaism is a cult, and I certainly would not say that about my friends in Netzrai Karta, because I have the deepest respect for them. But what I was raised in, which I call atheist Zionism posing as Judaism, is a cult. And that's why it's so pernicious, and that's why it's so difficult to address, because you can't really convince people who have been brainwashed all their lives to believe that they're entitled, to believe that they're victims, to believe that they are innocent, all the while they are committing these crimes or contributing to these crimes. And it was an extremely difficult emotional journey for me, which is why I could relate to what Mr. Shoemaker said. And I'm still dealing with it. I've been very active for about 15 years, 16 years, and it's still very emotionally difficult. But I don't wallow in that, because nobody's dropping bombs on me like they're dropping on Gaza. So I tend to ignore my own emotional trauma and try to focus on, well, what can I do to stop that? And I don't really know what I can do, but I'm here, and I'm carrying a sign, and I'm carrying a flag, and I salute all of you who came out to do the same. I just want to talk very briefly about an experience I had yesterday that goes to the idea that what I come from is a cult. My friend Michael Rabb, who's standing just over there with his Stop the Genocide, End Israel, Free Palestine. Can I get an amen for that? Yeah.
Amen.
Michael got an idea a few years ago that we should demonstrate at the Holocaust Museum. And that is a little bit shocking to some people. It may be shocking to some people here. But I supported Michael in his idea, and I went along with it, and I've been doing it with him for a few years. And I think it's important because Holocaust education basically serves Zionism. Now, let me preface that by saying the Holocaust happened. There's no question that it happened. The Nazis killed a lot of Jews, including, as Rabbi Weiss said, his grandparents. The Nazis killed my relatives. I have photos of my relatives who were murdered by the Nazis. So the Holocaust happened. But the way Holocaust education is presented, it's presented in such a way that presents the Jews as the ultimate victims and presents Israel as the solution. Okay, it's almost like we're inventing a new Jewish religion based on Christianity that poses the Jews as Jesus, Auschwitz as the cross, and Israel as the resurrection. And this is what kids are learning when they get Holocaust education in their schools, and that's what they're learning at Holocaust museums. And so we were out there to say all Holocaust education must include Nakba education, because it's a very important point that just 2 years and a couple of months after the liberation of Auschwitz, Zionist Jews were massacring villagers at Deir Yassin, and there were 30 other documented massacres during the Nakba. And this is what's not being taught when children are learning about the Holocaust, and this is what is not being taught in these museums. So we were out there yesterday, and I hope we don't have to be out there again. I've been coming to this event for several years, and every time we get together, it's nice to see familiar faces, but every time we get together, I like to say, we're not going to be here next year, because by next year, Palestine will be free. Now, that may seem like a pipe dream, but may it happen soon, inshallah. And thank you all for listening and for being here.
Thank you, Richard Siegel.
I almost forgot. 2 weeks from today, March 15th, anybody who's in the New York, New Jersey area or would like to come to the New York, New Jersey area, there is an event in Teaneck, New Jersey, which is where I live. It's a very Zionist town. It's an event organized by Nefesh B'Nefesh, which is an organization that is dedicated to Aliyah, which is all about getting American Jews and Jews from all over the world to settle in Israel, and specifically to settle in illegal West Bank settlements. So there's a big event in Teaneck, New Jersey, next week, March 15th, and we're going to be out there demonstrating against it from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., demonstrating against this Aliyah event, which is sponsored by Nefesh B'Nefesh, and anyone who is interested in it, just come talk to me, and I'll give you all the information. Thanks a lot.
All right, thank you, Rich Siegel. Just before we continue on here, we have the star of the rally over here, Noah. He's just going to go out to you guys, and if you could just please support Al Hawda with anything you have, with a few bucks, just so we can continue these signs and flags for, I don't want to say many years to come, we hope it ends, but just to help us support our work. So Noah's going to be going around. If you can donate anything, please chip it in the bucket. Thank you. Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Long live 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 Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Okay, we're just gonna have a few more speakers, so hang tight. I just see the group from Knoxville, Tennessee. Give them a hand, they're right here. Woo! They're all the way from Knoxville. Thank you for coming out. So I have the next speaker is Mr. Don Bryant. Don't hide, he's right there.
All
He's
right,
a
Don.
local Cleveland legend. All right, he is my co-chair with Al Hawda in Cleveland, the Cleveland chapter. So I just want him to say a few words here, and then we have some more lined up.
Thank you, Abbas. Thank you so much. I was actually in Gaza in 2009 with a delegation in March, and we went into Rafah, and we had a small delegation from Ohio and a couple other states, and behind us was more delegations. There was Code Pink, and they brought a famous author, Alice Walker, with them, and we were all trying to get in because Israel had bombed the hell out of Gaza. If you remember, in Operation Cast Lead, when Bush left office and Obama was coming in office, there was no one at the helm on Christmas Eve, and that's when Israel bombed the hell out of Gaza until January 2009. When Obama got in office, it stopped. But we're continuing to demonstrate, and that time in Gaza, we took water purifiers and we took surgical equipment. We had doctors with us, and then Code Pink came, and behind them was George Galloway with 100 trucks to take to Gaza. So we were all in a perfect storm, and we entered Gaza to help stop the pain as much as possible. We need to continue to stop the pain right now is a decent time to talk to Congress because Trump's got a lot of the Democrats PO'd, pissed off about doing so much action with for Israel and making Jerusalem the capital. So we need to hold the Democrats to their feet to the fire and say, stop Trump from selling out Palestine and continuing to arm the Israeli terrorist nation. We must stop. No rights for Palestine, no aid for Israel. No rights, no aid. No rights, no aid. No rights, no aid.
No rights, no aid.
And we got to continue to take that message to Congress. And finally, just one last message. We're from Cleveland, Ohio today. We had a small group in a van come down. Again, students, the timing's bad. All our students are in college right now and they couldn't get away. But we usually bring a whole bus, but today we just brought a van. But we're here in force. And I just want to say one last thing. When we hear about anti-Semitism, I thought Palestinians were Semites.
That's right.
So is Israel anti-Semitic when they're bombing the crap out of Palestine? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Israel is the anti-Semite here. And if you want to talk about what the Zionists are calling anti-Semitism and using this moniker to benefit their Zionist empire, what we would just say instead was call it anti-Jewish bigotry. But anti-Semitism is against Palestinians. It's not solely just talking about against Semitic Jews. It's talking about being against Semitic Palestinians. Don't let them steal that term, anti-Semitism. Just call it what it is. If you want to talk about anti-Jewish bigotry, say that. So from here on, free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Thank you.
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
End the occupation now!
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 From the river to the sea!
From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
Palestine will be free!
From the river to the sea!
From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
Palestine will be free!
Okay, next I have Miranda and Lars from Youth Against War and Racism, Baltimore.
From Baltimore to Palestine, occupation is a crime.
From Baltimore to Palestine, occupation is a crime!
From Baltimore to Palestine, occupation is a crime.
Baltimore to Palestine, occupation
is a crime!
All right, this is Lars.
Hi everybody. Thank you all so much for coming out here today. I'm from Youth Against the War and Racism, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about just that. I want you all to think about how much we spend every year on aid to Israel and aid to racist occupation around the world. And I want you to think about what that money could be better used for. I want you to think about how we could use it to better our education system, how we could use it to help pay for people's health care who can't afford it, how we could just be better, just better. Bigotry is nothing new. It happens all around the world. It happens in my mother's home of the United States, where we see what the Trump administration has done. It happens in the home of my father in India, where the Modi government has been incredibly anti-Muslim, and this needs to end. It needs to end now. It needs to end yesterday. Today, we're all here and we all stand united. And I hope that whoever you are, whether you're gay, straight, queer, black, white, or even secular, religious, anything, I hope that we can all find common ground today and we can all stand united, because Judaism is wonderful, but Zionism has got to go. Thank you.
Down with Modi.
Down with Modi!
Down with Modi.
Down with Modi.
Down with Modi!
I just want to say that Israel exists because the United States exists, and because the rich and the ruling class and big businesses and corporations exist. The goal of imperialism is that the ruling class wants to expand their businesses and their monopolies and their profits. And if any country exists that isn't trading with the United States, that isn't participating in its imperialist policies, it is a threat to the profits of ruling class people. So Israel exists as an outpost of U.S. imperialism. Because the United States wants an ally, wants a puppet in the Middle East that can fight for it in wars against other countries there that are not going to stand for imperialist policies and imperialist destruction. When the United States and Israel band together to destroy other countries, to kill civilians, they're driving up profits. They're driving up prices. And it doesn't matter if they want those resources to keep or to destroy. Either way, when they take over a country, when they back a fascist coup in Bolivia, they're owning those resources and they can drive the prices up and benefit from the energy industry. Just as in the United States, genocide against indigenous people, slavery of black people, that's how the United States made its wealth. Right. So we know Israel as it is an imperialist, white supremacist country that's not in the interest of anybody, any working person. It's active genocide against the Palestinian people, and it's actively destroying the lives of people, working people here in the United States, that just as Lars said, that $38 billion could be going to jobs, to healthcare, but instead we have austerity measures, cuts to food stamps, so many homeless, so many sick. So we say